So tonight then we are going to be finishing up our 10 types of common sentence structures, as I like to call them. Okay, so we're going to learn about conditional sentences. Okay, so the word suppose, a lot of times then I call it if, but there's a difference. So this one I'll use as if, so you could call it if, but it's more like saying suppose. Suppose that this happened, or if this happened, kind of the same idea, but they usually use this one for suppose. Suppose. Okay? So, the conditional clause, so the first part of the sentence, if this happens, then this will happen. Okay? So that's our normal conditional clause, right? That's how we say it in English. So, the conditional clause in ASL is always going to be at the beginning of your... Okay, so the conditional clause will always be at the beginning of the sentence. So you'll always have the if this part will always go at the beginning. Okay? And then you have to clearly describe what the condition is that will happen for that, okay? And then the outcome of the condition will always be in the second part of the sentence. So the then part will always be at the end, okay? And then the second part, the outcome of the condition, the then part, will always, it can be a question, it can be a statement, or it can be a command, as we'll see in the examples. Okay, so even though in English there's flexibility in the way that you order it, you could say, this will happen tomorrow if this happens. In ASL, then it always has to be if this, then that. You always have to have the if part first and then the outcome afterwards. Okay? Okay, so here are examples. Okay, so for this one, if he shows up, what are you going to do about it? Okay, so this one is what? What's the second part? Question, a command, or a statement? Question. Okay, so what's this one? Suppose. So suppose, okay, you want to tuck in your thumb on that one. It's like an I. So suppose he shows up. Okay, so you're going to have, it does kind of look like a shark. It has the same separation of your fingers like that shark. Okay, so it's going to be show up. So you're just putting we use this as a person classifier, remember we did meet you like that? So the person just appears, shows up. Appears. And I just do it right here through my fingers like that. Appears or shows up. Okay? So suppose he shows up. Okay? What do? We'll learn this one. Do what? What are you doing? What do you want to do? What are you going to do? You. Okay. So we have the beginning part. It's in the beginning. The if part. And then what are you going to do? Okay. Actually, slide that should be there would be the non-manual slide, so you can actually practice it. Okay, so whenever you do the non-manuals for this, then you're going to raise your eyebrows. So that's going to be the first one, so you're going to raise your eyebrows. The second part is you're going to tilt your head. So one website that I saw said that you should tilt it back, but I don't think I've ever seen it like that. I think I've only seen it tilted forward or kind of to the side. So there's just like a head tilt. And then you're going to hold the last sign of the first clause. So whatever the if part is, if this happens, pause, and then you'll say the rest of it. Okay? So we'll go through the examples.
What was this one from last time?
For a different kind of sentence, yes. Yeah, but this one will be different. Okay. So, what are the three things? So raise your eyebrows, tilt your head, and pause, holding the last sign of the if part. Okay? So you ready? Okay. So suppose he shows up. So what are we going to hold? What word? Show up. Okay, so show up we're going to hold. Okay? So we're going to start with our eyebrows up and our head tilted forward. Okay? So suppose he show up. Okay, so we held that. And then what do you? Good. Okay. So about this one. Suppose she see me must leave. Okay? Suppose, okay, so make sure your eyebrows are up. Suppose she see me. Okay, so we hold that. Me must leave. Me must, this one, must leave. So it's like if you were going to grab your stuff.
No, wait, but isn't this also need?
Yes, so if you do it like this, if you do it twice, then you have need, and then you have should, must, have to, should, must, have to, need. I think that's all of them. Should, must, have to, need. So need will be twice, and then should, must. And you can add the facial expression to show how much. Like, oh, I should do that, or I have to do that, or I must do that. Yeah. So that'll be
must.
yes.
Could you also do that in an angry context too? Like, I must leave if she shows up. Like,
if she sees me, must leave. I
must leave.
Yeah.
Because
I have to. It's the way it is. But you still, like, even if I do it that way, then I'm still leaning forward, I'm still raising my eyebrows, and I'm still holding the last sign. So I'm still, like, no matter what. So I can do, like, if she sees me, I must leave. Like, I can explain it that way, I can be happy about it. I can just say, oh, if she sees me, I'm going to have to leave. Or I can be, like, I can have any emotion, but I still carry the same, no matter what I'm doing, then I'm still going to have my eyebrows up. I'm still going to be leaning forward a little bit, so I'm still going to have all the same rest of it. Okay, so let's try this one together. So, suppose, okay, so remember, eyebrows are up. Okay, so suppose she see me, okay? Suppose she see me, and then me must leave. So we held the last line. Me must. It's like here, grabbing your stuff. Yeah, I pull it, I go across my body here, so I'm right-handed, so I start to my left, and then I pull it back to my right. Do it opposite, you can do it that way. Okay, what about this one? So let's go through the signs. So suppose tonight, so you're going to do now, night. Tonight, it snows. So snow is white, and then going down to the side. So I usually start on my dominant side up here, am I right? And then just kind of glitter it down. Yeah, so rain is like this, like pound, pound, pound like that. And I just kind of keep my fingers like in claw, rain. And then snow will just be like it's filtering down gently, yeah. Okay, so snow. Snow. Okay, and then tomorrow, you. And then cancel is this way. So you're going to draw an X right there in your hand. Cancel. Good. Okay, so if we do this with, what's our three? Eyebrows up. Tilt your head. And pause holding the last sign, okay? So suppose tonight snow. Suppose tonight snow. Okay, and then tomorrow you cancel school. Tomorrow you cancel school. So that's if it snows tonight, then you will cancel school tomorrow. So it's making a statement. So you're not asking, are you going to cancel school? You're saying you will. So that's what that part is. Okay? Okay. Now the other thing that you can do is that you can use the word if. The other way that you can do it. So if you see a pound sign or number sign, whatever you want to call it, in front of a capitalized word, that means that the word is lexicalized. Did we talk about this before? Okay, good. So a lexicalized word is going to be a word that you fingerspell, but you add something else to it or you take something away. So whenever you fingerspell something, like if you were just fingerspell if, what would you do? Fingerspell if. I, F. Okay, so you would just go I, F, if. Okay. Now, if you are lexicalizing something, that means that you're adding a movement, that you're deleting a movement, you're changing the orientation, the way that your hand turns. So I can, for this one, then for if, then you're going to start with your F, and you're just going to go like this. Okay? So you're adding movement. So I'm not finger spelling it, but I'm using the letters. So I'm going I, F, I, F, I, F, if. So it's kind of like how we had 23, and then it became this. It's kind of the same thing with if like this. So there's actually a lot of lexicalized words that you can do. So you can go if. It is hard. And once you get the hang of it though, then it gets super easy and you won't even think about it. But yeah.
That has the number in front of it?
Yeah. So that's lexicalized. Yeah, we talked about that in the other class as well. So we have if that way. So there's a lot of ones that you can do like this. Like you can do job. So instead of just going J-O-B, job has an added movement, and it also has a difference in orientation. So for a lexicalized job, you would go J, and then you would turn it towards yourself and leave it, and then you would go to a B and turn it towards yourself. So normally this would be incorrect, right? But for the lexicalized part, then this becomes a sign. Job, job, job. So it becomes part of it. Okay, you know how this is no? This is actually a lexicalized version of N-O, 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 no. When you sign okay, then instead of just going O-K, you do it forward.
Oh, yeah.
And it's more just like a flick. Okay. Okay. Or you have like wow, 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 W-O-W, W-O-W. So there's a lot of different things that you can do this way. Wow, you have the if, job. So there's a lot of different lexicalized ones. The other one you'll see is go. So it's, instead of just going G-O, then it's go. Go.
Why are they lexicalized?
They're lexicalized, it's when fingerspelling becomes a word, when it becomes its own sign. So it adds movement. Like this one we learned out. So like going out. So it's G-O, it's got that movement to it. The other one that I really liked that I saw was early, and it starts here. So normally you go E-A-R-L-Y. So for early, for this one, you would go early. So you go E, you skip the A, you go to mostly an R, you go to kind of an L, and then down to a Y. Early. It takes a lot of practice to get to go in a circle, but you add the movement and you take out like one of the signs or the hand shapes, which is the A. Yeah.
I thought go was like this.
So yeah, so go is this way, but this is another version of it. So that's the other thing about sign language. There's lots of different versions of different signs that you can use at a time. So for leave, there's leave. You can take off. You can leave. So there's a lot of different signs that you can do for one word sometimes. Just like in English, then when we describe something, then there's a lot of different adjectives that mean the same thing. But in sign language, then there's a lot of different signs that can mean the same concept of one thing. So, yeah. Okay, so let's get back to this one. So, if. I think I've seen it two ways. I've seen it this way, and I think I've also seen it turned this way. So if or if. Okay? If or if. So if she can't come. Remember that one? Come. You lose. So it's like here, like if you were holding it in your hands right here, and then it just drops out. Lose ticket. So it's kind of like.
Oh, it's like they're clipping off the ticket.
Yeah, it's like that. Like if it was to punch it right there. So that's ticket. So this can be like I got a ticket for a concert. This can be like I got pulled over and I got a ticket. This is, or I need like one of those like little raffle tickets. I bought a ticket. So I've seen it just in once, and then I've seen it done twice. So ticket.
So where do you do it?
I do it right here, like right about there in the middle. It's not super, super important exactly where, but I generally do it right about there. Ticket. Okay? So, now you guys know all the signs to try this one. So where are 3? Raise eyebrows. Tilt your head. And pause. Okay, so if she can't come. Okay, you lose ticket. Try it one more time. If she, remember your eyebrows are wide, can't come. Okay, so now we move our head back a little bit because that's the end of it. You lose ticket.
It's twice.
It just depends. Twice, once, yeah. I think I usually see like I got a ticket, or I bought a ticket, something like that. So, but really this is, the thing that I keep seeing is that a lot of times then I see like this one, or I see this. Like if I just said, what's your name? You would still understand, and that's still a fine way to do it, whereas the sign might technically be name. So a lot of things like the movement, sometimes there's one, sometimes there's two, sometimes it doesn't even matter. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, and then, so let's go through the sentence. So, if you guys remember when? So it's like you're, almost like you're grabbing it, you're sliding across when. Game. Your team. Okay, so we've talked about like class. You can do class with the C. You guys have probably seen that one. Or you can do it like this is a group, just kind of like you're surrounding a group of people. Like think about like a bubble around it. So group. And then the other thing you can do is you can do it with a team. You can do team. You can also do it with an F and have family. So this all refers to a group. Family, team. You can sometimes do G's for a group, or you can just do group that way. Do it with the C, you have class. Okay, so for team, so you're going to start here with your T's together, and then go in a circle around, and then hit the opposite sides of your hand here together. Okay, so team. Okay, and then champion. So I think I've seen it two ways. I think one time I've seen it here on your index finger, and one time I've seen it on your thumb. But the important part is this handshake here. So you're the champion. Champ. So, champ. Okay. So it's kind of, like if you kind of did it like on your thumb, I would kind of just do it like that. Champ. Like this? Champ. Champ. Okay. So, try this with our 3 things that we're doing for our non-manual. So, if you win game, okay, now remember, pull your head back and don't widen your eyebrows. So your team champion. Just one. Yeah, one time champion. Good. Okay. So if you look at these ones, then in this one, by using the if this way, then it emphasizes the consequences of whatever the outcome of the condition will be. Okay, so in this one, then if this happens, it's putting more of an emphasis on you lose the ticket. So that's one of the reasons that you would choose to use if. And then the other one is it can also be used as a warning, like, hey, if this happens, then, you know, like, this is going to happen too, so think about this, you know, like, maybe you really need to, like, get her to come because, yeah. And then in this one, then it emphasizes the consequences, like, hey, you're not going to be in the championships if your team doesn't win. Okay, so when we do the if this way, or this way, whichever, it's used to construct a conditional clause, so the second part of the sentence. So it can be used interchangeably with the suppose this way, but is often used to give a greater emphasis to a condition. So using the if or the suppose, okay, so that's usually how you see the conditional sentence is the if then, but you can omit that if you use a non-manual still, and it'll give it the same meaning. Okay, so if I said, if we go back to our let's do this one. Okay, if you just took off this word suppose, you can do it with the same facial expressions and you will still understand that it's a conditional sentence based on your non-manuals, even if you don't have that word suppose. Okay, so let's do this one together without the word suppose or if or anything. Okay, so what are our 3 things? So raise your eyebrows, tilt your head, pause. Okay, so okay, so if we just do tonight snow. Tonight, snow. Tomorrow you cancel school. Tomorrow you cancel school. So you can do it that way too. You can just totally leave out any of the signs, and as long as you have the rest of it, then you still have that complete meaning to it.